I do feel the burden of legacy. There's a bunch of comparison that keeps happening.
Today, there are these large, you have Google and Microsoft in the US, these large behemoths, right? They are not able to get into India, do anything, even touch you.
What we sell is not a product actually. What we sell is a philosophy. We have our own database, we write our own math routines, we write our own memory manager, we actually have our own language called TDL. उसके ऊपर अपना छोटा सा application बनता है.
Search for Tally on my app store. And there was an app which had 2 out of 5 stars. Why?
So, till date, if you ask someone, where would you go and buy Tally? It's very hard for someone to make a practical statement other than maybe Nehru Place. Or Nehru Place, I have seen Tallies that even we haven't made.
Your granddad needed a software that he could use, so your dad built one for him. How did it go beyond just your company?
Basic belief that it is possible in a software product industry to be a winner. Now some GST changes have. Luckily in Tally you have to do nothing. वो rate change करना है, applicable date डालना है, काम खत्म. I genuinely believe that if we are able to do what we are planning, I think it's ridiculously game-changing for entrepreneur-driven businesses.
Will the Gen Z also use Tally, and what are you doing to be relevant to them? So interesting for me to introduce Tejas. Other than being the MD of Tally, he's also my senior from college. But in college, we didn't really get to talk as much. He was a senior, but now I'm so excited to finally talk to you. Tell me one thing. How did your dad start this company? I feel like there is something interesting there, which not a lot of people know.
Sure. So first off, thanks for having me, guys. Really excited to be here. I was telling Pratham that what you guys do at Masters Union is honestly a name that people look up to when it comes to education. So best of luck to all of you. So we used to run this bobbins factory in Shantinagar in Bangalore, for those of you who have been or know Bangalore. And it was like a typical small-scale industry in India, debt-ridden.
What factory?
Bobbin factory. So
what is that?
Bobbins are these wooden pieces that you use in textile mills. When you see the textile mill guy changing the rope, that wooden thing that's what we used to do. Like any small-scale industry, at least back then, we were heavily debt-ridden, heavily cash flow
negative.
वो सब के ऊपर the whole factory actually burnt. As legend has it, the only thing that remained was a computer that somehow my granddad bought and afforded for my dad. Honestly started out of this need where the factory burnt down, and my granddad was now like, okay, now we can't treat this as a hobby anymore. It has to be something of use. So I think he pushed him quite a bit to make something useful for business owners, make something useful for him. And that's sort of how the journey began.
But so, how did it lead to Tally then?
I guess the biggest time consumer at that point for business owners was your khata, your bookkeeping. You couldn't trust anyone with it. My granddad was actually looking at many products that were made back then to try and make his life a little bit easier. He's always been a little bit of a tech-forward guy in that sense. And the secret sauce was basically that he wouldn't accept anything that he couldn't use, he couldn't understand. And so the first few demos, the first few versions of creation, which were pretty much what others would make, were outright rejected simply because he couldn't use it.
And these were made by your dad?
Yeah, all made by my dad. Till 2001, I think he was the only engineer.
The only engineer?
The only guy.
Right, one engineer supporting the entire country's bookkeeping.
He keeps telling our tech team today also that every time I used to make a release, I used to go on a 1-month holiday after. So no one could call me. That means I better have made it really well.
Your granddad needed a software that he could use. So your dad built one for him, went through iterations. How did it go beyond just your company? How did it become a product that is now used literally by every company that I can think of? If you were to ask me, is there any other company that does this? I can't think of any. It's like Maggie to noodles, Colgate to toothpaste, Xerox to photocopying. I don't even know what Tally, like what industry is it, like bookkeeping or accounting? What is it? It's just Tally.
I think very early on, the first customer was a tax practitioner in Commercial Street, which is a street in Bangalore. He bought the product, came back 3 months later, was deeply appreciative for what the product did for his business. And I think the cycle sort of started from there. But if you ask...
But how did he also find it?
We went. Everything was... I mean, the stories are... Like, my granddad probably has seen 400 or 500 cities in the country. If I still go, like, I went to Hubli recently, last year. And in Hubli, there was a customer who said, your granddad came and sold to me in 1993. So I still meet people like that. And I think that back then, there was no option, really. It was also that business owners would never say no. Even today, if I don't have to go and make an appointment with a customer, it's very easy to walk in. It's very easy to talk to them.
When did uncle or granddad realized that there is application of this beyond their own company? Because it was built for your company.
And that was clear from day one, actually. He didn't say, build something that only I can use. We should build something that India can use. Soon it became, we should build something that the world can use. And very early on, I think 92, he had a statement that he had made. There are only two types of businesses, those that use Tally and those that will use Tally. And since then, we've been sort of dreaming of, going out and...
I think it's very well achieved. Right? And then what was the journey? Few customers in Bangalore to taking over the market.
So 89, 90, we started selling, 88 maybe, we started selling our first products. 94 or 95, we released a product called Tally 4.5. Tally 4.5 was why Tally is what it is today. That product, if you go to older users, will be the product they benchmark everything against. Okay. And that's when Tally became accounting, accounting became Tally. That's
Tally 4.5.
What 4.5 did was it was completely pirated. If you go to a business owner in Delhi or Gurgaon or Nasik or wherever, I mean, till date, if you ask someone, where would you go and buy Tally? It's very hard for someone to make a practical statement other than maybe Nehru Place. Or Nehru Place, I have seen tallies that even we haven't made. So, it was a full journey. That's when we started seeing centers pop up. The Aptex, the NIITs, that's the one. That would teach Tally as part of the, the second floor, third floor.
That was completely organic. You didn't...
Completely organic. Because there was a demand, right? Tally pata hai kya tumko? If you look at the software product, in 15 years, honestly speaking, it makes no sense that a Windows first, desktop first product today outsells competition 10:1. It makes no sense. I'm sitting in 2025.
Yeah, it's SaaS, it's phones, it's Khata book, whatever, right?
Right, exactly. The thing that in the beginning would scare the living daylights out of me was, are we good enough? But if you see what we do in the product, there's a simple thesis. It's built from a philosophy which was the rejections very early on for my granddad. It's not user interface. It's not, that's one very small part of it. But I'll tell you a story from Chickpet. So Chickpet is a sari market is a textile market, garment market in Bangalore.
Okay.
Now in Chickpet, when you go and buy a sari, let's say I'm sitting with my wife and she likes a sari and she doesn't like the yellow one, she likes the green one. But the shop owner doesn't have a green one. What does he do? He'll make a phone call. Madam, 2 minutes, aap rukiye, main sari laata hu.
Side wale se.
Aur kahan se la raha hai? Side wale se la raha hai. I used to think it's from his warehouse or from a...
Correct.
It's from another totally legitimate business. If you think about the transaction, he has not bought something that he is selling. He has sold it to you, he's billed you for it, but in his life he's never purchased it. Now you imagine building a software. It's not in his inventory. How do you build software like this?
Very interesting.
The whole point is that if you think about small businesses are owner driven, they are owner run. Systems start becoming important, but owners run the day to day. And a lot of them are focused on how do I manage cash. Cash means not physical cash, but collection, kitna udhar dena hai. That's how people manage.
Right.
Ab usme, now you think about me. I have we run with about 7 distributors in the country. We do a total delivery only on cash. We don't give any credit. They give credit in the market.
Sure.
But if one of my distributors happens to have an illness in the family or a wedding in the family and they ask for 7 days, 10 days, 15, will I refuse it?
Probably not.
There's no way. And I don't think systems are fully built to handle even such simple things.
These Indian psyche or Indian problems are not built into, let's say, QuickBooks as a software, and then that's why.
And it's also, very honestly, Pratham, it's not an Indian problem. It's a global problem. Global problem where owners run their own businesses, they run them like this. Because the system is like a totally irrelevant part.
Give me more examples of how Tally and the user interface of Tally solves for these kinds of unique problems. What are these other unique problems?
You take inventory. So a lot of people don't know this. If we do inventory, accounting and compliance, people know us for accounting and compliance most, largely because of the advertising that we've done on both of these subjects. We are by far the largest globally inventory system that's used. So we have about 7-8 lakh people that use us for inventory. Now the thing about inventory is that it is a imprecise subject. What do I mean by that? How many chairs are in this auditorium? Unfortunately, I may miscount, you may misread, she may misdo something. So inventory is inherently an imprecise problem.
Sure.
Then you have other complications around it. That if you take a case where I buy 100 sarees in a box, I counted 100 sarees, they were 100 sarees, billed 100 sarees, paid 100 sarees. अब वो चूहा आ गया, उसको खा लिया, बंदा काम कर रहा है, वो एक चोरी करके ले गया, एक साड़ी में I didn't see, वो फटा हुआ था. So you typically will think of an inventory system as material in, material out, which is purchase and sale. Some people may say, okay, there's pilferage, so let me write off the material. But nobody thinks about miscounting. So we have a very, very simple thing in Tally, but it's a very technically complex problem. So we have something called a physical stock voucher. So what it does is resets your stock without screwing up all of what you did before. And you can figure out, was it a chuha, was it a pilferage, was it a fatawa sadi, was it a miscounting? That is your problem. So that makes our inventory usable. You take the technical complexity, how you do your totals, how you do your subtotals, how do you maintain your database, all of these start mattering. So it took me a long time, but if I look back, why we are where we are is we actually have our own database. We write our own math routines. We don't use the OS math routines. We write our own memory manager. We actually have our own language called TDL. उसके ऊपर अपना छोटा सा application बनता है.
Very interesting.
So if you ask me, product is
everything.
Everything.
And that's why, I mean, there are some large companies that are your competitors that have not been able to take away more than a few percentage of market share. Would you credit it all to the product and the way it solves for not just Indian but global problems?
The problem from the mid-90s to now, what is the difference? So in the mid-90s, we had about 20,000 customers, yet the brand Tally was accounting was Tally. Today, we have about 27 lakh customers that have paid us.
Paid the Nehru market including or no?
No.
Achha, no, okay.
Paid us.
Paid direct.
What we, I think, realized also fairly early on is that India is, and continues to be very honestly, is a sell-to market, not a buy me market.
Dig a little bit deeper there.
If you go to Meerut, there's no need for Tally. Today, people will say, no, I have to buy a software because GST is there or because some compliance headache is there. But there are enough people who operate without any GST product also.
You mean in a register?
Absolutely, absolutely. And then they'll send their register once in a quarter for the quarterly filers to kind of get it done. So per se, there is no basic need. So if you want to sell to someone in Meerut, you better be in Meerut. So what we have done is we've got a very large network of partners. I mean, it's like one of those Maruti ads, right? You can throw a dart on the map of India. I can guarantee you I'll find someone who will sell and service the product for you. That's been probably a big part of the volumetric success, the licensed volumetric success that we have right now. And I think the third one is just from a cultural perspective, I think there's, and I feel like it's now second nature to us, so I don't think about it as much, is there's a lot of an attitude to go just over and above. It's very hard for us to say no to a partner, very hard for us to say no to a customer. And the business is a tricky business in the sense that GST can go wrong, income tax can go wrong, data can get corrupted, a lot of things which is problematic. So I think how do you at scale
care for the customer?
Yeah.
And what is it with CAs? And Tally. I think CAs swear by Tally. The reason I think we use Tally is because CAs like, aise hi karna hai. How did you build that community?
Just small things that CAs really like. We allow you to do pretty much anything in the product. The statement of flexibility is actually truly flexible. So for a CA to reclassify an expense that you may have classified wrongly, and the CA is like, dude, he made a mistake. It's not like it's a
fraud.
It's a fraud, right? So I think that's probably why. And I also think that we built the mindset that we build the product for our power users. Because what we realize is that you may start off being an occasional user. Learnability is something that we really focus on. Like if I have to teach you Tally, it'll take me like 10 minutes. Now you need to know the subject in order to get really good at it. But the product to learn is like 10 minutes.
So easy to learn, difficult to master.
Actually, easy to learn, easy
to master. Okay.
The mastery is what keeps people's hands stuck. So when they move to other products, they actually hate it. So when we talk to people,
the switching cost is too much.
Yeah, it's a mental neural pathway set types. You
know, today there are these large. You have Google and Microsoft. In the US, you have ADP and these large behemoths, right? And they are not able to get into India, do anything, even touch you, even with like a 10-foot pole. But it's only a matter of time, and I'm sure they already would have copied or tried to replicate some of your success aspects. So how do you then still protect your market?
I mean, I will go down to product to a large extent, but I'll tell you what the...
उन्होंने कॉपी नहीं किया प्रोडक्ट अभी तक क्या?
नहीं, वो बहुत डिफिकल्ट है. आप मार्केट देखोगे ना, तो ग्लोबल मार्केट देखोगे तो इंडिया में कोई है, मलेशिया में कोई है, इंडोनेशिया में कोई है. ये मार्केट क्या है? इट इज अ विनर्स मार्केट वेरी लोकली. So we are amongst the few companies now, like we have about a 60% share in the Middle East. We have a growing share in Africa. We feel we can become one of those winners in all markets. But you think about it, it's small things that actually matter. How I enter my invoice, the item, how I give a discount. Is it an item-wise discount? Is it a total invoice discount?
At the end discount.
Is it a group discount कि मैं 3 Pepsi पे discount दे रहा हूँ और इस पे दे रहा हूँ और T-shirt free में दे रहा हूँ. So now all these nuances are actually slightly different.
They're cultural. They're very cultural.
It's very hard to copy a product. You got to have your own philosophy. If I had to beat Tally, let me put it this way.
If you had to, okay.
If I had to beat Tally, I would have to figure out a reasonably deep customer insight that drives the philosophical approach to the product. What we sell is not a product actually. What we sell is a philosophy that if you're an owner-driven business, you need a flexible system. That's really it. Now you may choose. You have multiple options in front of you. You may choose whichever one. We just think we'd be best fit for you. Right? That's the second point to kind of come and convince you for.
Got it. It's still very difficult for me to wrap my head around this point, right? Yaar, how is it? You know, Maruti, my dad was a Maruti dealer, still is a Maruti dealer. And as a Maruti dealer, we were very proud of the fact that Maruti has 50% market share for the longest time.
Yeah.
Right? And it's been years, ages, Honda came, Honda left, Hyundai came, Hyundai. They tried, nobody could move. I think it was the DNA of Maruti. It was the kind of culture they built with the dealers.
Yes.
It was the very transparent pricing that nobody else had. No discounting the dealers were allowed to do. So many different things that made sure that they're 50% market share. I think there's probably no product in the world that has 90% market share in its industry. I don't think that exists anymore as a concept. That monopoly. I think I can't think of any other product. And I get product, I get distributor network, I get everything, but I want to probe you a little bit more. What is it in the DNA of your granddad, dad, you that has maintained this 90%? Because that is no joke, guys. Seriously.
I think it is the belief that you can get to 90% to start with.
Okay.
Because let's say you work at Tally. The one thing that I tell people that you should walk away with, I don't know if you'll spend 1 year, if you'll spend 5 years, if you'll spend 10 years. However long you spend, the one thing that you should learn out of the experience out of Tally, which I will find difficult to find elsewhere, is this basic belief that it is possible in a software product industry to be a winner. For example, you take AI. We're spending a lot of time and now trying to figure out how AI can make Tally experiences better for customers. What we continue to keep searching for are technical moats that give phenomenal experiences to Pratham. We're not so much in the business of saying that, you know what, let's deliver an AI experience to Pratham. It's not the thing.
You're not an AI company just to be an AI company.
Right. The willingness and the patience to say, देखो, सोचते हैं ऐसा. And it's not, a rush to market doesn't matter. I met my first girlfriend on Orkut. What the hell is Orkut? It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Google wasn't the first search engine. Excel wasn't the first spreadsheet. The product industry is a high risk, high reward game. It's a game where if you're willing to make the product right, which takes
a long time,
patience, and I would not even say time. It actually takes your mind to slow down and say, I will make it. I don't care where everyone else is going. This is my insight and this is what I want.
Me and my customer.
This is me and my customer. Bas. That is probably the one big thing that if I have to say, we keep trying to propagate. Now it's hard. There are timelines, there are deadlines, there's everything. Now some GST changes have. Luckily in Tally you have to do nothing.
Achha, if the 18 se 5
को कुछ नहीं करना है. वो rate change करना है, applicable date डालना है. काम खत्म. So there is zero cost for you. We've gone through 15 years of pain in VAT, where every month some state was changing some rate of some item.
Right.
When we built it, that was the wrong design. Now we've got the right design. Now I can support 27 lakh customers without a heartbeat.
You know, on your website, I think in one of the core values, it said power of simplicity.
Sure.
And I see a lot of parallels between Tally and the way you're speaking and, let's say, for example, WhatsApp, right? The reason WhatsApp is successful is not because it has all the features. It's successful because it has no features. And the founders have resisted, or founders not anymore, but Zuckerberg has resisted the temptation to build more and more and more. Keeping it simple, keeping it for the customer's main core problems and not being everything to everybody. I see a little bit of similarity there.
Yeah, I would agree. That is a tendency we have.
Okay, cool. So you tell me now, Dad used Tally, my granddad probably used Tally in his time. I'm using Tally. Will the Gen Z also use Tally, and what are you doing to be relevant to them?
It's a great question. I think a lot of stuff that we could do better. I think the challenge that we face, there's an expectation of being really simple to use. And I think that we definitely can make the product simpler for folks that don't fully get the domain. I think today the perception is that I need to know accounting in order to learn Tally. It's not necessarily that Tally is per se complex, but the domain I need to learn.
Yeah.
Simple things like the reports are in debit and credit because accounting is debit and credit, right? So I think the effort that we have to make is definitely on usability. And I think number 2 is on engagement. That's short of a short-term thing. The second side of the story, though, is these are sort of tactical changes that we can make now. The larger question is probably what do we look like, let's say 5, 7, 10 years from now? And today, the tech stack that we have over the last few quarters, we've been rewriting. And every tech company product should just do this fearlessly. It's very hard to do, but you have to just do Control-A, delete, and rewrite.
You can't build 2.0, 2.1, 2.2. Start from scratch.
You have to start from scratch. So when we're starting from scratch, we're imagining a world which is vastly different from what we have today. Today, we're a single product company. Tomorrow, we're imagining multi-product. Today, we're largely single geography dependent. We're imagining multi-geography. Today, we are product dependent. We're imagining a whole bunch of interesting services on top of the product. So some very cool things with some grounded principles. And I think that we're building for that. Obviously, I'm biased and a story I tell myself, but I genuinely believe that if we are able to do what we are planning, I think it's ridiculously game-changing for entrepreneur-driven businesses.
And what is it that you're doing to the product? What are those changes?
So tech stack is very complex, so I won't get into that. But the simple concept is not even a Tally concept. It's not even an idea from Tally. It's an industry idea. Sabko karna hai. Which is, can I create an invoice and can I send it to Pratham and can Pratham open it on his phone and can he accept it? Kaam khatam. Usko entry kuch nahi karne ka zarurat hai. Now someone may ask, this is not complicated. Ye to bahut log karte hain. Karte hain bhai. Agreed. Largest such exchange is a few thousand people. When you get invoices exchanged. I'll give you a small story of why. So a distributor in Bangalore, I was driving from Bangalore to Coorg for a friend's wedding. We stopped on the side of the road and there's a kirana ka dukan and stopped for water and chips and all that. And the guy handed me a bottle of Kinley and said, sir, aapka Bisleri. Bill mein kya likha? Bisleri likha hai. Ab wo Bisleri to hai nahi. Purchase mein kya hoga uska? वो बिस्लरी लिखा होगा डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर बेचा क्या है किनले बेचा है तो अब वो क्या है ना जो व्हाट हैपेंस इन द डेटा एक्सचेंज इज दैट यू हैव ऑल दीज आई एम गिविंग एन एक्सट्रीम एग्जांपल बट forget about the extreme example. Let's say I have an iPhone with me. I may call it iPhone Silver Pro Max. You may call it iPhone 17, blah blah. तो आपका item का name अलग है. So handling these nuances, handling custom experiences, you don't know how I maintain my data. I don't know how you maintain your data. And all this ambiguity. How do you solve for
a simple invoicing
exchange? Is sort of the grand idea. If we're able to do that successfully, I think it changes the way financing gets done, marketplaces can be built, data services can be built. It changes the way, honestly, there's no more recon in this new world, right? There's no need for it because I always know whatever I send to you, you have accepted or rejected. So I will always know that cash flow cycles will change. So in my mind, it's a phenomenally powerful thing if done right. Question is who will do it right and will they have the patience?
And it's not a problem that's fully solved yet.
Not at all.
Yeah.
You have global mandates that try to do this. None of them have succeeded.
There was this company, I forget, Khata Book or something, right? It was like massively funded and it, I think, grew top of the charts one time. And I think it was trying to do this by Khata. What happened with them?
I don't know. I think there were many at that time. There was an MSME sex appeal.
Still is.
Although people are realizing कि कोई पैसा देता नहीं है और demand तो मने enterprise जैसा है. So that is the other problem with the SME, especially in markets like India, where labor costs are low. SMEs expect, can I hold Pratham's neck whenever something goes wrong?
तो online नहीं होगा, मेरे को वो distributor का बंदा जो वहाँ पर है.
Online भी वही करेगा. It has to be done that way.
But you're right that an Indian MSME needs the vendor's person in the office physically as much as possible to maro danda to him.
I would say that at least when things go wrong.
Which they do invariably. You know, you're third generation.
Yep.
I'm also third generation.
Yep.
And I know the difficulty of carrying that burden that comes with being in third generation, right? So have you felt it, number one? Number two, do you compare yourself to your previous generations all the time and feel like a complete idiot sometimes?
I do feel the burden of legacy. I do feel it. I do feel the burden of performance. I do feel many of our customers and partners are so old in the ecosystem that there's a bunch of comparison that keeps happening. I think over the 15 years, it's become easier.
पिताजी तो ऐसे करते थे.
हाँ, वो तो होता ही है. There's a lot of comparisons that, you sort of go through. I think the nature of industry that I'm in, fortunately, forces you to do that. But I'm still not at a point where I could say that I'm as fearless as them. What I'm still dealing with, can I be as risky as they were? And I feel like that's a muscle I need to invest in, I need to build somehow, and to be a little bit more fearless. Probably two things that stand out to me. I think one is the grass is not greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it. Whatever patch you have, you got to deal with it. The more you're able to recognize that, the happier life is, or rather, the more satisfactory, purposeful life is. The second thing is that life seems to be a journey of being more and more fearless day after day. So how do you figure out how to let go of?
Did you always know you were going to join the family business?
Not at all. I studied mechanical engineering. I have no background in accounting. I have no background in computer. I'm taking a computer science class now. I think what got me excited and got me into the story was Dad coming and telling me, do you want to come and run the place? Then I spoke to a bunch of friends at Penn and they were like, are you crazy? Like no one is going to do this for you. So if you have a chance to actually run the place, go. I tell my friends, parents the same thing. If you're getting your kid in, you get out.
So don't do this.
Do it. I think a 21-year-old has like this beautiful energy. You need to figure out how to let burst as a parent. What they will bring in is mistakes. They will bring in lack of experience. वो सब है यार. I made enough mistakes. But I think the best thing that I had was both mom and dad would direct all decisions to me. Tejas decide कर लेगा. Tejas decide कर लेगा. And I think that
did you have to earn your stripes? या शुरू से आपको वो
with parents no. With parents, no. With the team, yes.
With the parents, you did not have to earn your stripes. You got it as legacy. But then with the team, you had to build that trust. कि यार नहीं ये जो बोल रहा है ठीक बोल रहा है. इसने करके दिखाया. What is something you're judged, let's say, on by the team or by the community?
Tactical stuff, yeah. Policy changes, pricing changes, release commitments, all tactical stuff. ऐसे होता था, अब नहीं हो रहा है, ऐसे होना चाहिए, वैसे होना चाहिए. I think a lot of it's to do with, I've sort of compartmentalized it as tactical, which allows me to also process it much easier, right? So I think that's probably 99% of it.
We have understood how you and your dad are similar in many ways. The way you look at product, DNA, etc. How are you guys different?
I think, honestly, my sister gets along with my dad a lot better than I do. So both of us run the place now. The first 2 years of both of us was hard. It was really hard on a personal front, really hard on our individual relationships. Now we're at a place, thankfully, where I can't go a day without talking to her like 5 times. Every decision we run by each other, every idea we run by each other. But it's taken a lot of effort to come to that.
Give me an example of a conflict.
Conflict between my sister and me,
or your dad and you.
We're building this new tech stack. In his view, 100% of the engineering team should be on that problem. It's the bigger, badder, big thing that we should be doing. In my view, I don't have a way to exit what I'm doing today. So I think that's a conflict. Between my sister and me, some of the stuff that we're doing on the CSR front is a conflict. She runs the project with dad. Some of the stuff that we're doing on our people policies have been a conflict. We've got a transition that we want to make from older customers to newer releases.
Got it. I have 2 questions and I'm going to try and phrase it sweetly, but I also mean it in a way that I want to really understand. Search for Tally on my app store.
Yeah.
And I have an iPhone.
Yeah.
And there was an app which had 2 out of 5 stars. Why?
Yeah, it's a solid question. We don't have a native app experience. And one of the things that we're deeply protective of and recognizing humbly is we're in an industry which demands trust and reliability. And I have no right on your data. And the thing with mobility, unfortunately, is technology today, regardless of how convenient it is, prevents me from creating an experience that's worthwhile of you to use your app without having access to your data. I may not see it.
But you have access to it.
But I will have access.
Which is not comfortable to me.
Therefore not comfortable to me. I, as a friend, would never want to come back and say, Pratham, I had to do this with your data. So it's on that principle. So what we're building when it comes to the mobile experience is just banking on this principle that we don't want to screw you. It's literally as simple as that. Should we have done it earlier? Absolutely. When we do it, we'll do it right.
Got it. The thing is that businessmen are so conscious of their data that they don't want to share it, and that's why the app is not launched yet because the technology today doesn't allow you to be able to do that for me.
Many people here may argue that businesses don't care. I completely agree that there are several business owners that don't care. It's not people perceive that it's a black, white, legal, illegal. It is got nothing to do with that. Even if a business owner doesn't care, my concern is that I have the responsibility of nearly 90 lakh businesses that are using the product for managing their data. If one goes wrong, I have to go and stand in front of that guy. So,
lowest common denominator you have to take care of. You mentioned AI, that you want to integrate AI into the tool. Do you think in the future AI will take over the entire accounting function, including all of its anomalies that we discussed today, such that we don't need, or a human doesn't need to interface with an accounting software? The software is just doing, the AI is doing its job, filing the returns, filing everything, all of that.
Yeah,
do you think there is a future there?
So we've been at this problem now for some time. I have a slightly contrarian view. I'm not a really doom and gloom scenario type person, to be honest. I think the basic thing about AI is that it is probabilistic in nature. The technology fundamentally is probabilistic. So it takes a bunch of tokens and then you can predict the next few tokens, right? And you train it on how to predict this more accurately and so on and so forth. If you ask the same question to any of your AI systems, you're probably going to get a different string every time you ask the question. Sure. Our business, on the other hand, is a deterministic business. I cannot say Pratham may owe me 1,94,000. It is either it does or doesn't. So I feel like there are some incredible experiences that are possible with AI. And I don't have necessarily a strong enough view on what the job profiles will evolve into. But I think that the one bullet shooting all problems will probably not be the case. If you take a simple case, right, where someone has a paper document or even a printed document, or even email, whatever it is, and they want to feed it into the system, whatever technology you use is going to be probabilistic. Means that there is a chance that a digit may go wrong, a name may go wrong.
But that today, tomorrow will get fixed. I mean,
I don't know. I'm not yet, I don't have clarity yet on what it will take to fix that.
I mean, in the last 3 years, AI has changed so much.
Of course,
right?
Of course.
In the next 5 years, I'm guessing some part of this problem will get solved.
Absolutely.
Do you think that students will be studying, for CA in 10 years? Do you think that function will exist?
I'll tell you what I think. Job profiles will certainly change. I don't know what they'll become. I think in general, if I look at the last, let's say 100 years, profiles have typically tended to evolve for the better. The job of us as humanity, society, whatever word you want to put on it, is probably to figure out higher value stuff. And I think, for example, a lot of time does get spent on routine, mundane things, which need not get spent on tomorrow. So if I look at a broad principle, I think that access to better consulting insights,
reports, dashboards,
all of that can happen much more democratically than it is today. Why should entrepreneurs running small businesses not deal with the best in talent or get access to the best talent, and only the larger companies get access to that talent? Right? I think that we could imagine a shift in the positive on that direction.
Got it. A hypothetical question. Let's say you go bankrupt and you have to start a business all over again from scratch. What business would you build in today's day and age? And it cannot be Tally again.
I think probably 2 or 3 things. I'm really keen to try and figure out energy demands of the world is like increasing. I think energy is a phenomenally interesting space, to be honest. So maybe something there. I continue to believe technology, software, but obviously today, if I had to build probably something .ai only, like everybody else, I don't know what if it's not in business. And I think the third is probably around food.
Food?
Yeah, I think food security is another big sort of interest.
Anything specific you've thought of or you've considered?
A bunch of ideas are there. I mean, at some point I want to buy a farm and go farming, but we'll see. Urban food access, I think even food productivity, I think nutrition, I think all of these are concerns. I think that if we have to build a society that we're proud of leaving behind for whichever generation, I don't have kids, I don't know if I will have kids, but whatever we leave behind does need to be feeling a little bit better for whoever we leave it for.
And since you have traveled length and breadth, I also read that you do all these events, right, as Tally, and you would have met so many MSMEs, this, that, right? Are there any interesting MSMEs that you've met? Any interesting stories that have come out of those meetings? Anything that's completely left you like in awe?
So we do this sort of a thank you program called MSME Honors, where we just try and recognize folks that typically will go through life unrecognized. And there was an incredible story. There's a guy in Bangalore who runs this water cleaning company. And then he started showing these pictures and how he's helped clean up beaches along Tamil Nadu, how he's cleaned up rivers, and it's all low cost, incredible innovation that can be done world over, right? So it's stuff like this which I think is phenomenal. There's another lady, she wanted to do, so solar cells have some 20%, 25% efficiency, something like that. She's based out of Vellore or something. She's built a technology that takes the cell up to 45, 48% efficiency. Now the question is, does she have money to scale it, blah, 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 but she's a MSME. She's been at this for 10 years and beautiful.
Awesome. What's your favorite city in India?
My wife will kill me, but the first time I went to Bhopal, I was blown away.
Really?
I didn't expect it. Cleanliness, I didn't expect weather, the peace, the lakes, oh my God. Close second is Indore. I just went to Indore a couple of months ago.
So MP for the go, yeah?
Oh my God. And now I went to Lucknow, I think 4 or 5 months ago. UP is at another scale. I think what's happened in the last 10 years in UP is phenomenal.
Interesting. BJP states. Do you also invest?
I do. I'm horrible
actively?
I actually have the energy-focused, I'm a GP at an energy-focused VC fund. So we do some energy investing and some very cool companies there. Personally, I do invest, but I'm the worst investor to have. Like, don't know anything. I don't know what to look for. So if someone's investing, I'll kind of tag along. That's what I do.
So on their tips? Or do you have like a scientific...
If they do, no, I have no scientific.
So people you trust and then whatever they're doing,
whatever they're doing, gaya, nahi gaya.
And has that worked for you?
Little bit. It's hard. The VC stuff is better though.
What have you invested in?
So some 10 odd companies. There's a guy who does battery charging really, really well. So they figured out charge cycles for large battery applications in EVs and scooters and whatever. So they built some stuff there. It's a company called EMO. EMO. There's a hydrogen a gas sensing company. They've got the world's fastest gas sensing, cheapest gas sensing, and not just hydrogen gas, they can do multiple gases. So when you're looking at hydrogen production at scale, this is a very needed thing. It's an uninnovated space. So they've done some beautiful work there. All Indian stuff. Very, very cool.
Got it. And how do you choose which company to invest in? What's your mental model there?
For me personally, I would say technical depth matters. Do you understand the space? Is there a customer insight? Is it something that's relatively deep, that's not that 100 people know it? And they say that in Wall Street, like the day that your shoe polish guy recommends a stock is the day you sell. I think that's probably one thing, that some insight. I think a feeling that they'll fight for it. Don't know how, I don't have a scientific way to judge it, but I do look for it. And I think the third one is an orientation towards risk, that they understand that it's not all castles in the air and it's not an Excel sheet and that things can go wrong. And are they prepared to deal with that nonsense?
You know, you've met, again, so many companies. You went to a great university, of course, and you would have met so many people at different stages of lives. Who are some of the people who have really, really had an impact on you, who you really look up to? And are there any people you want to embody? You know, what would they do if they were in this situation? Do you think like that about anybody?
Probably very cliched answer, but to one my father-in-law, I think. For my father, what I try to figure out and what I try to emulate is courage. I think he just has a let's do it kind of an attitude. I've never found problem statement that can be put in front of him that's not solvable. I think for me, that attitude of lagayenge dimag to ho jayega. He had told me 5 years ago, for example, that he wanted to learn Sanskrit, my father-in-law.
Okay.
Today, he's incredible at it.
In 5 years?
5 years.
At what age?
He's 65.
Wow.
So if I feel like this seems ridiculous, it's hard, I think that's where I go to. If I see that I'm scared to do something because it seems too big and audacious, then my dad is probably where I go.
And what would be an advice you would give to yourself in 2011 when you graduated?
Yeah.
Right, 2 years before me.
Yeah.
Anything you'd tell yourself
Stop
to do?
Being scared.
Stop being scared?
Yeah.
And so this is essentially to you guys.
I have been a big fuck too, so I think...
What were you scared of?
Everything, dude. I mean, everyone is like that, right? It's not that I'm judging myself for it. I think I would have had more opportunities if I just stepped up. And I think that I justified where I didn't take the opportunity. I think I justified it to myself 6 months later because it helped me sleep. But if I had to go back, this is what I would say. Be less scared.
Be less scared. All right. On that note, thank you so much, Tejas. Seriously.
Thank you.
This was such an honest and open conversation.
Thank you guys.
This is... Didn't feel like I was speaking to someone who has a monopoly in the business. It really seemed like I was speaking to a senior from college. But thank you so much for giving us your time. I know you're in Delhi only for a couple of days.
I am,
so you took out some time
I had
for
to
us.
Make some time for you.
No, absolutely.